Welcome back everyone. Hope everyone is doing fine and keeping safe. So today we are going to do the AWS training track 3. This is going to be a small AWS track. This is going to be on IAM. Now what is IAM? IAM stands for Identity and Access Management. So what is IAM? By definition, AWS Identity and Access Management IAM enables you to manage access to AWS services and resources securely. Using IAM, you can create and manage AWS users and groups and use permissions to allow and deny their access to AWS resources. So basically, it means it's a one place that you can actually do security and give permissions to various resources under AWS. So that is what it means. So users and access to AWS console and AWS services is done through IAM. So it will be a one place solution for all these security and user base access. All these things can be done in IAM. So let's go ahead and check the features that we have under IAM. So under the IAM features, there are different features in IAM. So let's start with the centralized control of your AWS account. So what does this mean? The centralized control to the AWS account means that you can actually go ahead and change everything, all the roles, all the users, all the groups, everything which you require for identity and access management is there under this identity and access management service. So whether you're giving some permissions, whatever it is, it will be coming under it. So it would be a complete set under this particular service. So that is what actually comes under the IAM service that is offered by AWS. Moving on, we will check out that the shared access to your AWS account. Now, this we have actually already gone through. So we had actually gone ahead and shared the S3 access to another account. So this also you can do. So you can actually apply a role in which you can go ahead and give that permission to that particular account to access some of the services that are there in this particular account. So we have done this in the S3 track, S3 lab track. So we had actually given a shared the access to another AWS account. So that is also done here in the IAM. So that's the second part of it. So this is also a feature that IAM offers. So moving on, we will see the other features that are given under AWS that would, the IAM service. So that is granular permissions. Now for under granular permissions, what happens here is that you can actually give a particular user or a role, anything that you are looking at. So basically, if it is if it's a user, I don't want to give the user complete access to a particular service. I can give a read-only access. Similarly, I can give the same to a particular role as well. So particular group as well, sorry. So if I want, say, an admin group to have complete access, I can give the admin team a complete access, whereas there would be a sales team or a development team, so they will have different accesses. So the sales team probably requires only access to S3. I can give that, and that also read only access, whereas a dev team might require a read and write access to S3 as well as EC2. I can give that. So that is the granular permissions that we are looking at here. So that is one of the features which will help you actually give a really good handle on what each person or each user is using in that particular AWS account. So that is granular permissions for you. Moving on, we have the next next feature that you have for the IAM, that is the next IAM feature is Identity Federation. Now, the Identity Federation is basically a particular feature in which you can actually go ahead and not create new users within IAM itself, but what you can do is actually use the user base that you already have created elsewhere. So, for example, if it's a say Facebook login or a Google login or an Active Directory. Now, an Active Directory is basically an access management which is given by given by Microsoft. So Microsoft or Windows per se. So what you have there is basically you have a lot of you have a big user base that is already set up. Now, instead of creating all or duplicating all those users here, you can actually use the identity federation here so that they are actually linked to this particular account. So that is what the identity federation does here. So using this, basically you don't have to go ahead and basically create another database of users and groups, etc. So you can actually use those users over here instead of creating new users. So that is what identity federation is. So moving on, we will see the next feature. The next feature is the multi-factor authentication, or MFA. Now, if you guys are using Google Gmail, actually, so if you use that, you will probably know this, that there is a multi-factor authentication there as well, if you choose to use it, that is. And as a suggestion, I would I will suggest to everyone of one of the people who are actually seeing this track. So if you have a Gmail account, go back to your Gmail account and go ahead and actually activate this multi-factor authentication. Now, what does multi-factor authentication help you with? So multi-factor authentication is a security system per se. So what it does is, like, even if somebody catches hold of your password, so you have the username and your password. So Gmail is pretty simple. You have the email ID floating around and somebody catches hold of your password. So even if they have your password, what this will allow you to have a security is that even if they put in the password and try to access your particular account, they will be asked for another code, or maybe to give it access through a particular pop-up on your phone. So this is what the multi-factor authentication is. So in this in case of AWS, for that matter, what it does is, when even if the person catches hold of the password, when they go ahead and try to log into that particular account, you have to first enter a MFA code. Now, what is an MFA code? You can actually, if when you register a device as a multi-factor authenticator, so it can be a Google authenticator, it can be any other authenticator that you set here. So that authenticator, that code, that it keeps on changing, and it is only it's like a fingerprint, and it keeps on changing, and it will only be related to your account. So if that number is correct and you put that in, only then you will get access to this particular account. So this is a security thing. So basically, for any users that you create, you can actually tell them to create a multi-factor authentication to increase the security on the particular account. So that is what multi-factor authentication does. So I will not be giving lab track on multi-factor authentication. Just to have a look at this, you can go ahead to your Gmail ID and just check out for securities if they allow multi-factor authentication. So you will see that for more security, they will ask you for your phone number, and they will send you a code on your phone. So this or you have to put that code from there, like an OTP. So that is multi-factor authentication too. So that is multi-factor authentication for security. The next feature is temporary access. What does temporary access mean? So basically, there are applications that users are hosting on AWS. So they will get access to that data only when they are accessing that particular application. So you can actually regulate what people are using the access for. So this is temporary access that you can provide on AWS. So the next feature that we will be looking at is basically the password rotation policy. Now, the password rotation policy is pretty straightforward. So you have a password that you set for, and after, like, say, a week or 2 weeks or whatever you have set as the time frame, it will ask you to change the password. So when you keep on changing the password, this is also helping you in the security. So if say somebody does get hold of your password, they will not be able to use this particular password say in a week or in 2 weeks. So basically they'll if they have the password, yes, they will have to definitely go in and change your password so that you can't access it yourself. But the thing is, this particularly will help you to actually keep your password safe. So this is something again used for security purposes. Now the last feature that we will discuss here is the integration of this IAM service with the other AWS services. Now this is pretty straightforward as the name, I mean what is written basically. So what it does is basically you can actually go ahead and use these integration. So basically if you have a identity federation per se, so this can be used for a particular application that the user is hosting on, say Beanstalk, or even if you have created a particular application, and so the web server or anything that you use, you can use the authentication from what you have in IAM. So that is a feature that IAM provides you. So we will see all of these things, but mainly there are a few things that IAM you will be using for. So when you talk about IAM, you talk about a few of the terms that you use in IAM. So that is what we are going to look at now. So the IAM terms that we are going to be looking here, let's begin with users now. So users can be you, me, or anybody who has access to AWS console or any of the AWS resources. So this can be used. So basically if I want to give somebody an access, I'll create a user and give that person that access. The second part of it is groups. Now a group of users is actually a group. Now this group can be given some permissions, like you're giving users a permission. The only difference is whenever you're giving a group of a permission, it will trickle down to the users under it. So that it is better. Now the next part we'll have policies. Now policies are basically JSON documents which you can attach to a group or basically you can attach to a role which will give permissions to that particular entity. So this is, we're gonna see this, we are not going to do a lab, but we'll see the documents there. And lastly, we will be checking out roles. Now roles we have already used. Now we have used a role to actually give access to the S3 bucket across the account. So we have roles for an account. We can give roles to AWS services. You can actually give roles to groups. You can even give roles to users as well. So this is what these are the four terms that we will be keeping on seeing while we are doing IAM. So that's about it that we'll be covering in IAM. That's all for this track. Thumbs if you liked it. Do subscribe to my channel if you haven't. Click the bell icon for updates on new uploads. For more such content, keep watching TechMozart. Thank you, bye, and see you in the next one.